There'll be so many people that basically can sympathize, empathize, recognize the clip that follows me talking here. And it happened earlier on when I was out with Honey and I took her out into the middle of nowhere to do some training with her, but she was still on a long line because her responses are not reliable as far as I'm concerned. They're not as strong as I require from her. So I took the responsible action of keeping her on a long line. And yet, regardless of that, in comes another dog. In comes flying another barking dog of which the owner has absolutely zero control. And in this instance, didn't really appear to have any care about the fact that he had zero control either. So I shouted over to the guy and said, "Can you recall your dog, please? Because you don't appear to have any control over it. And I've got mine on a lead and I'm holding her back." It didn't say anything. I said again, "Can you control your dog, please? Can you call your dog back, please? If my dog bites your dog, it's not my dog's fault. You have no control over your dog." And the guy, who was an elderly fella, who's walking with a stick, had absolutely no control over his dog. So I'm not bashing the guy, right? I'm not bashing the guy because he may have had a very bad day. He may have had some very bad news. He may have thought, "I just want to take my dog for a walk to chill out." It may well be the very first time that this has ever happened, which is what he, proceeded to say. It's never happened before. It's just a bad day. However, the onus is on me as the guy who's holding on to the line that's got the German Shepherd Malinois mix to make sure that my dog does not bite or put you in fear of being bitten. And yet it's your dog that is causing my dog to respond in that way because you have absolutely zero control or, in this instance, interest whatsoever regarding or over your own dog. So for the people who are struggling, for the people who have dogs that will aggress, that will lunge, that will bark, that will, tell other dogs to get out of their face or warn other dogs to keep away from them, I absolutely feel you. I understand you. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what you know. It doesn't matter how much experience you've got. You cannot account for somebody else's irresponsible behaviour. Somebody else who lets their dog off that is prepared. And this is an old dog. This isn't a puppy. So this terrier isn't a puppy. This isn't the first time this dog's done this. Hell, there's no way on earth that this dog has gone through its life and then on this one occasion thought, "I'll run over and start snapping and barking around that other dog." And I don't care about the reasons for why it's doing it. I don't care if it's playful. I don't care if it's sexually motivated. I don't care if it's aggressive. I don't care. Your job is to control your dog when you see somebody else with a dog that is on a lead. That should signal to you, "I'll keep you away," because that person may be trying to deal with something, prevent something, avoid something, or work on something that is problematic. How difficult is that to understand? If you see another dog owner who has a dog that is on a lead and your dog is off a lead, call your dog to you and put your dog on a lead, or simply move to the side, allow them to walk by, walk around them, whatever it should be. However, if you lack the ability to be able to call your dog back to you, to make that happen, do not let it off a lead. The area that I was walking in is absolutely full of livestock animals. It's also coming towards lambing season, where it's going to be bouncing with newborn lambs and the smell of newborn lambs. And if you cannot call your dog away from another dog, please do not walk it in an area where such temptation is literally awaiting it, and expect that you're going to have an ounce of control over it there. And in this situation, as I say, I'm not knocking the actual individual guy. I genuinely believe that this guy, whatever, he may have had bad news, he may be going through a bad patch, he may be whatever. I'm not knocking him individually. It's not about bashing this owner. It's about making other owners realise by looking at what his dog has done, just how likely it is or possible it is that your dog, if you do not have full and proper control over it, would do exactly the same thing. So it's so easy on social media to point a finger at the owner of the other dog and say, you should have, you could have, I would have. You know, that's irrelevant. The point is, if you have a dog that you think, mine may have done the same in that situation, I'm not 100% sure that I could have called mine back if they were that engaged, then you need to do some more work with your dog. Or you need to put a lead on your dog and you need to make sure that your dog remains on that lead until you've done some more work. If you're not prepared to do the work, do not let your dog off the lead. And I'm a person who strongly advocates for allowing dogs to be dogs, allowing dogs to express themselves behaviourally as the species requires, to allow them to run, to allow them to interact, to allow them to smell, to allow them to experience, but only, goodness sake, only when you have full and proper control over it. As an aside, I was absolutely delighted with Honey, the German Shepherd Belgian Malinois mix who I'm fostering at the moment, and her behaviour in this situation, because she would have been well within her rights to continue to kick off, scream, bark, lunge, snap, whatever towards this dog, because what you see here is a fraction of what actually happened. It actually went on for around about 5 to 10 minutes because the guy stood and watched from a distance, periodically calling his dog. Absolutely no idea of what potentially could happen to his dog or my dog in that situation. Then he walked his way over, then he tried to get hold of his dog who played keep away from him, absolutely no relationship there whatsoever. It ended up being my wife who took hold of this dog, and even then the guy didn't put a lead on it. He had to be told to put a lead on it. And as he walked off, he smacked the dog over the head a couple of times with his walking stick and whacked it round the face with the handle of his flexi lead. What he also did was lifted it off the ground, probably about 2 feet, and dangled it and hung it for a couple of seconds and put it back down. Well after the incident had occurred, and considering that to be okay, you know, that's the dog's fault. That's teaching the dog a lesson. Anyway, have a look at the video. Wait. Wait. Good girl.
How's that fur on her?
Wait. Good girl. Here. Come here, here. Oh, I know you're going to get in.